Welcome to the East Bridgewater School Committee meeting of March 24th, 2020. And at this time, I would take a motion to open our meeting, and I will take a roll call vote after it's seconded.
Motion to open, Gordon. Second, Tim.
Second by Tim. So roll call vote, Ellen Pennington. Aye.
Gordon McKinnon, aye. Tim McLaughlin, aye.
Mr. Higgins, aye.
Rob?
Ruda, aye.
And because we're participating remotely, I already told you, I'll take a roll call vote. And I would like to thank EBCAM for recording our meeting. And also, so that we're not all speaking over each other, I will call each member's name.
Did we lose you, Ellen?
Superintendent, it's all yours.
Okay. Are we going to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty, justice for all.
So I wanted to update everybody on coronavirus, which is obviously what we need to, what we're here to discuss a little bit this evening. First of all, welcome. This is our first online go-to meeting. I'm glad to see that everybody got in today, and we'll continue to do this so that the community sees that we are working and that we are here. And if the community or our students or our parents need anything, please call central office or email your principals or your teachers, guidance counselors, including our social workers, school psychologist. You can email Mrs. Anderson, Christy Anderson at the high school if you need something. Karen Clifford is available for all students and any students or parents who need to reach out. We know this is causing anxiousness. We know that this is a scary time, but we are here for you. If you are having problems getting online or getting up or emailing your teacher or seeing the instruction which is available from teachers, what they are posting, you can certainly email Dr. Williams at EBPS, and she will make sure that you get the link to the instruction or get the link to the teacher. If I could ask the committee, until you have a question, until we get through this for a second, could you mute your phones, please?
Okay, Teresa's here.
Thank you.
Superintendent?
Thank you, Teresa. Yes, Ellen?
I just, I was out for about 15 seconds and I got booted out and I just came back, so I missed a piece of what you're saying. But I'm going to mute my phone right now so I can still, you can keep going.
Okay. I was just saying that we are here for the community. If anyone has any questions, especially involving instruction or getting online, if you email your principals or Dr. Williams will put you in touch with who can help you and support you. Our IT department is here and working every day to make sure that we are continuing to have support and we can manage the internet and help you gain access to the curriculum and instruction that the teachers are putting out. First of all, I want to thank all the teachers, the staff members, the custodians, Deb Vaughn and the cafeteria crew that has come in each and every day to make meals. They have just been tremendous. The custodians have really worked very hard to keep our buildings clean and continue to do so. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. We have a lot of things going on, which you may think that we don't, but we do. I do want to talk about the coronavirus and some of the essential services that we've been asked to put in place today at noontime by Governor Baker. I have a conference call at 3 p.m. today with the Commissioner of Education, and I will then relay the information that I receive from Commissioner Riley. We are out of school per DESE until April 6th, and we hope to reopen on April 7th. We, at this time, are only having essential personnel come into our buildings from now until April 6th, or until we are told otherwise by Governor Baker. The essential personnel are the Superintendent of Schools, Finance Director John Shea, Dr. Williams, Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Barbara Polisi, John Phelan, Director of Special Education, Joanne Connors, the Assistant in Special Education. I have asked the principals to stay home. They will be working and accessing emails, telephone calls. We have rerouted many things to their homes, to their cell phones, and to their devices that they will be using at home. The custodians will continue to work to make sure and maintain the buildings, that we have water, or if the heat goes down, continue to disinfect buildings and to continue to maintain a clean environment in our food prep area. The custodians are going a 2 on, 2 off day so that we do not have more than 2 to 3 custodians per building at one time, so that they are spread out throughout the buildings and the floors. I'm working with Brian Kiley on that, our facilities liaison between us and the town, and he's working with us very closely to make sure that everybody is kept safe and healthy throughout this time. But that is the essential personnel. Do you have any questions on that? Anyone?
No. I don't.
Mrs. Benner, thank you. Mrs. Benner will be at home throughout this time. She will be, she is on right now online with us, and she is taking the notes as she is the clerk for the school committee. But she also works for the finance department. However, we have worked her technology out, and she will be doing most of that work from her home, and we'll be doing a drop-off of mail to her home for her. So at this point, that's really where we are at the coronavirus. I have no updates of any student, any faculty member, any staff member, any principal or administrator in the District of East Bridgewater at this time who has had or is being tested for coronavirus at this moment. If that changes, I will certainly let Mr. Spagone know from the Department of Health, and we will get that information out as soon as possible. At this time, though, I knock on wood that everyone is safe, and I hope that everyone's family is safe and extended families. Like to just talk a little bit about the coronavirus when it comes to federal and state grants. Per Department of Education, we have been told that all of our grants are in good standing. We've been told that the grants will continue to pay our employees, our teachers who work off of our grants and who are supported through the grants. So at this time, our grants are in good standing. The state is in good standing with the grants. The grant providers are still providing the grant, and we are still being able to use them for that type of operation. When we asked about the school day requirement of how many days we should be in school during the coronavirus and the COVID-19 restrictions, we were told on March 10th that we would end school and there would be no school after the date of June 30th. We had no school cancellations, so we had 4 makeup days. At this time, our scheduled date, if we come in on April 7th, will continue to be June 23rd. If, this is a big if we are to extend that time from April 6th or April 7th open to any time after that, the days will be added to the calendar, including movement of graduation at that time. I will continue to update on that, but that is where we are right now from the guidance from the Department of Education. As of right now, we are waiting. We will have some flexibility on testing for MCAS. We will have some relief on accountability for attendance for our accountability standard. We're only counting the first 120 days this year, and those are for our accountability standards. AP exams at this time are looking at flexibility dates. So MCAS and AP exams will have flexible dates. And that's really the guidance that we have at this time because things are moving so rapidly. They move day to day, hour by hour, minute by minute.
So, Liz, can I just quickly, I want to clarify, the original guidance was that if we had days after March 15th, we didn't have to add them beyond day 185. So you're saying that's changed now?
There's starting to be some movement, Tim, on that. As of right now, well, March 15th, but March 10th on the announced that no schools are required to be in session after June 30th, the longest day. So yes, the 185th day scheduled day. So so I guess I said it wrong. We had, if the district had already canceled school for 5 days before March 15th, it does not need to schedule additional makeup days for any of those days. If the school is closed after March 15th, then you would add those days. But there is some movement right now. So right now, we're still getting out on June 23rd.
Okay, even if we go out beyond April 7th?
If we go out beyond April 7th, there will be movement.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we're going to have to make up some time somewhere in there. And right now, and then we will discuss, obviously, if beyond April 7th, we'll talk about vacation. And we'll talk about April vacation and what the Department of Ed will recommend, what our school committee will recommend, what the state will recommend. A lot of variables. I just want to update everybody on the trips to Costa Rica, Spain, Italy during April break, and the Washington, D.C. trip on June 2020th. Could we mute your mics, please? Just to let you know that we are working with our attorneys on with Grand Classroom and EF tours. We are doing this to support our families. The school committee approves the advisors and the students to go out of state for a class trip. However, we do not contribute any financial support to the trip, and actually it's individual parents who sign an agreement to travel with the company. I felt that if we worked together, and I wanted to support our families and had our attorneys, Mr. Dominello, work with us and work with Grand Classroom and EF Tours. We've had some great movement with Grand Classrooms. They're working with the school district and our advisors and our families, and I think that we're making some good movement. In regards to EF Tours, we are still in conversation with them and we are still working. I would like to say, and always, that I don't back down from a fight, and I hope that all of my parents know that I would continue to fight and try to get as much of their deposit from these trips that we did not cancel, that were canceled by either the federal government or our state government or the companies themselves. We as families nor as the school district canceled these trips. And that's why we had our attorneys and myself and every other one of my colleagues in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts are all pushing these companies to do the right thing and to reimburse. However, these companies have people that are working for them, just like we do, and they want to support their workers. So that's, the conversation is where we are now. I'll be talking to the advisors this afternoon. I do have a conference call with Mr. Dominello at 4:30, I believe, and we will be discussing both Grand Classroom and EF Tours to see what the final decision is and what we're hearing from both companies for our families. Grand Classroom has moved from a low percentage of money that are reimbursement that they were getting back, that now they are receiving a higher percentage, and I think that is because that we put some pressure on as a district, and we gave support using our attorneys. However, if any family feels that they would like to go it alone or do it themselves, or they feel that they can do more than we can, I continue to say, please do so, but we're going to continue to fight for each and every one of you and all of our families, and we're trying for 100%. I don't think it's right not to get 100%. However, the rules are changing every minute, and I would hate for any company to go bankrupt and then we don't get anything, which I don't think will happen, and I hope that it doesn't happen. However, I would hate that to happen to us and our kids and our families, and to be out that sort of finances at this time. But we are working on it. And
can I ask a question?
Sure.
Does anybody have any questions? I'll do a roll call and see if anyone has any questions. So Trista, I don't know if that was you starting to talk, but Trista, do you have any questions?
I do. So Liz, I've been getting the email updates because, of course, I have I have a boy on each trip. Is there, at what point will we know when this discussion is final, for all the parents out there who are kind of following this and waiting, mm-hmm. as well as, will there be a process for the refund once it's finalized, or will the parents have to individually contact the tour group? And then do you also know anything about, I know I've seen some information regarding specifically the EF tour that the Attorney General Maura Healey is intending or has filed or is filing mm-hmm. a
class action.
A class action suit mm-hmm. against EF tours. Right. So can you share anything in those regards?
Sure. I've been sent all communications that I have received from Nick Dominello, our attorney, that he has had with either Grand Classroom or EF Tours, and we got one from EF Tours today, but I'm going to go over it with Nick prior to sending it out, is exactly where you're at, especially with the Grand Classroom, the Costa Rica trip and the DC trip. So those numbers, I think it's 80 and 85%, those are where we're at. Yep. I believe, from what my understanding is that if that deal is approved by all of our parents and all of you, that Nick would then say the East Bridgewater parents and students would like the 85% reimbursement, and so it would be 85% of whatever your deposit was at that time. Because I guess there was one last payment, I think it was due this Saturday for one of the trips, so we told parents not to pay it. So if you didn't pay that, you'll get 85% of whatever you put towards the trip so far. And on the other trip, it was 80% of the deposit that you would put in. For the opinion, on the EF tours, there is going to be a class action lawsuit from Maura Healey. We can certainly wait on that if that's what the group wants to do. The opinion, which is always guidance and an opinion from our attorneys, will be part of a class class action lawsuit, that doesn't mean that everybody gets 100% back. Things happen during a class action lawsuit, and the fees for attorneys, the fees for all the little things that go along with the class action lawsuit, and then what your share of that would be is undetermined at this time. So from the opinion from our legal would be, if we can get this deal done, I'd get the deal done. My concern is, Trista, is that there will be some of our parents that will be out of work and not getting a paycheck. And I would rather have recouped some of the money, if not all the money, sooner than later. And if I can get that back to them by next Friday, that'd be the greatest thing we could do for you. But I understand where parents are, and if parents feel that they want to try it and do it themselves, I certainly appreciate that. We were just here to help, and we thought that if we would jump on with other districts and other schools and other school trips, we might be able to get something done. But that's the best that we have, and I have that conference call at, I think, 3:30 today, 4:30, I mean, with Nick, and then right after that, we will send out our opinion, and then I'm going to ask all the advisors to ask what people want, and then send it back, and then we'll go from there for tomorrow.
Okay, and Liz, I think...
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Trish.
I think it's important when that communication goes out, because I don't know, based on the emails I've been reading,
Yep.
That parents that they realize exactly what you explained.
Okay.
That, if they do decide to pursue the class action suit, they're very likely going to end up with less than whatever the settled amount from EF Tours would be.
Right.
Because there will be attorney fees and other things. And I don't think there's that understanding based on all the emails that I've read, so I think that would be a point worth mentioning.
Yeah, we didn't mention that the other day because we thought we believed that people wanted to get their money back, and we thought the best way to do it was just try to get the money and try to get some restitution for this trip. When Mr. Dominello and I spoke about class action, he described to me, and discussed with me what happens in a class action lawsuit, and we'll certainly go over that later on today. But yes, I will put that in writing.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Just quickly, Gordon, do you have any questions?
No, not on that. Thank you.
Tim, any questions?
Nope.
Rob, any questions?
No, I'm good.
Teresa, any questions?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Okay, and I don't have any. Go ahead, Liz.
All right, on the student medications on the agenda, Amy Behrens-Redd, our head nurse, came in last Friday, went around to all the schools and took out all the medications that that parents had called in and requested through the nurse or the building principal. We brought them in on Friday. Mrs. Behrens-Redd had each parent come in and receive the medications. So at this point, I have not received any more calls or emails, and I have not heard from Mrs. Behrens-Redd that no medications have been not picked up. However, if you still, or any of our parents still have medications that have not been picked up, the nurses have called all the parents that had medications, but again, things are moving rapidly. If we missed somebody, please email the building principal or myself or Dr. Williams to say that you need to pick up medication, and we will do so as soon as we can. We'll have Mrs. Behrens-Redd come up as the head nurse. She's an essential personnel during this time, that we keep her on call-in basis only. If a student doesn't have the medication, she will come in. Any questions on that?
Any questions, anyone? Gordon, quickly.
Nope. Good. Thank you.
Trista?
No.
Tim?
Nope.
Rob?
No, thank you.
Teresa?
Nope.
None here. Go ahead, Liz.
Operation Brown Bag. We have moved it from the lobby of the junior senior high school front door lobby to the back bus drop-off and pickup lane on the Route 18 side of the junior senior high school. It is now going to be given out between 10 and 12 daily, because we're going to start providing a hot breakfast. So we'd like to do it earlier, but we figured we'd get a little bit best of both worlds. We're going to try to provide as many hot breakfasts as possible, and we're going to be also serving 1 to 2 days a week a hot lunch. I also want to make note that Viking Pizza has reached out to us, and once again would like to support the East Bridgewater Vikings and help us do a pizza once a week, and we'll try to do the best that we can with that, continuing to make it warm from the delivery at 9:30 to packing it up for the 10 o'clock pickup. A reminder on Operation Brown Bag for lunches and breakfast: every student, regardless of free or reduced lunch, or regardless of if you do not receive free and reduced lunch, every student in the District of East Bridgewater can be and will be provided a lunch for free every day between 10 and 12 pickup. Do not come and pick up a lunch if you can. We do drop a few lunches off for those parents who cannot come to the school to pick up. If we find that we are overwhelmed with the number of students and parents who want to come and pick up a lunch, we will then move to a location. We'll have 2 locations, one here at the junior senior high school cafeteria entrance out and back in the bus and driver plane, and we will then have our box truck located somewhere in East Bridgewater for pickup. And that is only if we get to a point with lunch delivery or providing a lunch and breakfast daily that we can't handle in a sufficient amount of time here at the junior senior high school. We certainly don't want a line of people, and I do not want people to come in harm's way. We want it to be efficient, safe, and healthy. If it begins to get where people are standing in line or closer than 6 feet, and I can't control the lines and making sure that people are just getting out one at a time out of their cars, we will move to a location somewhere in East Bridgewater from our box truck for pickup. I want to thank the East Bridgewater Police Department, especially our school resource officer, Talitha Connors, has been delivering our lunches on a daily basis for those who cannot make it to the pickup area. I've also been told that we have the Department of Public Works would certainly help with some of their vehicles if we need to move to some locations. I think we're in good shape right now, but I want to thank Talitha and I believe Cecilia Cacciatore, Officer Cacciatore, picked up today for us and dropped off the lunches. But we're doing a hot breakfast and a lunch. Thank Viking Pizza. Thank Deb Vaughn and her crew. Sheila and Kim Purcell have been doing a tremendous job making lunches. We're prepared every day. The juices and the fruits and the chips are ready to go, and the dessert every day before when they come in, that's when they make the hot meal. So they are not sandwiches made from the night before. It's not a hot dog that's going in a microwave. They're preparing in the morning. So that's where we are on the lunches.
Thank you, Liz.
Any questions?
Any questions, Gordon?
None for me.
Trista?
No.
Tim?
No.
Rob?
Quick one. Liz, can you tell us a little bit about how many meals we're serving per day? I'm not sure if you mentioned a number and I missed it.
Our first day, we started with 4 meals. We're up to 100 plus at this time. We also just
Teresa? Oh, sorry.
just before Teresa gets on, because this will probably be one of Teresa's. She's good at this one. The reimbursement, we will get full reimbursement of the lunches that we serve. We do not have to keep track of names or ID numbers. It is just, we know that there are students because they know where they're coming. But I will say this, the FDA and our SNAP programs and those programs that are by the Department of Education federally and state will 100% reimburse all of the lunches that we serve throughout this time.
Teresa? I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for all the hard work with the Operation Brown Bag. Go ahead, Liz.
Hourly employees, I want to just thank, again, the school committee. We will continue to pay teachers. They are our contracted employees, but we will continue to pay our teachers because of your vote, our ISAs because of your vote, our custodians because of your vote, our long-term substitutes that do our maternity leaves or an FMLA leave because of your vote, our secretarial bargaining unit because of your vote, the administration team because of your vote. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking that vote. It was the right thing to do. I continue to say it's the right thing to do. We are, John and I have been on several conference calls. Dr. Williams is on several conference calls with us as well, whether we're talking about the instructional piece of the online learning in the Commonwealth, or we're talking about the financial piece. As I said to my teachers and staff yesterday in a correspondence that I sent home, was there's a lot of moving parts to school districts. We do have transportation, we have food, we have a lot of people who work for us, we have special education needs. Right now, all of those areas are being funded. Transportation, we are looking for guidance, and there is a conference call. We had a conference call on Friday. We'll have a conference call this week with Jay Sullivan from the Department of Education. John is working with all the business administrators in the state. We'll continue to work with Lucini. This was not bus drivers' fault. This was not Lucini's fault. This was, this is a virus that has affected everybody from, from all over the world. And we're doing the best that we can to keep up, and we're doing the best that we can to continue to fulfill our contractual obligations and our contracted obligations throughout the warrants. So I just wanted to thank you for supporting us, and any guidelines that I receive from the Department of Education or John receives from the Department of Education through the business and finances, we will certainly send to you as soon as possible.
Thank you, Liz. Does anyone have any questions, any additional questions for Liz, or no? Gordon?
On here.
Are we, there's still one more topic, the education of students?
Yes.
That's still coming?
Yep. If anybody has any questions on the payments of anything.
None from Gordon.
Trista?
Sorry, no, I was on mute.
That's okay. Tim?
None for now, thank you.
Rob?
No.
Teresa? Nope. Go ahead, Liz.
And so let's just talk about the education for students. First of all, teachers are doing great. Want to thank Dr. Williams and her crew, Aaron Fisher, Jen McPartland, Karen Clifford, and the principals working together on the website, our links to get around on the website, to find out educational venues for students to go on to get help, to support, to get some materials to support their learning. Right now is a time for enrichment. It's not time for assessing. It's more of a time to continue to hone in on the skill developments that we have learned, and to continue the development of what we're doing in classrooms, or what we were doing the day that we left. I, along with many of my colleagues, all of the colleagues and the principals, and Tim can attest to this, we are looking for more guidance so that we are all on the same page, because there are schools in Western Mass who do not have internet capacity. There are schools, probably not just schools, but houses. There will be homes in the Commonwealth that two parents have been told to work from home and they have to use one computer. Well, how can we tell a child to be on and to do online learning if there's only one computer and the father is a salesman and the mother is a record keeper for a company? Very difficult, but I think that our teachers have risen to the occasion. Our staff is doing professional development online and all over the Commonwealth. There's so many great things going on. All teachers are supporting their kids, whether it's physical education, whether it's music online, whether it is languages, whether it is health and wellness, whether it is civics, third grade math, kindergarten. Their teachers and principals are doing a tremendous job of engagement of each other as professionals and engagement of their students. And I want to thank each and every one of the principals and the students, or the teachers. The students in East Bridgewater, so far so good. We've handed out, anyone who needed a Chromebook has called their principal or emailed, and we have made accommodations for them to pick up a Chromebook. The IT department, under John Shea's direction, bought 30 more hotspots so that if a student didn't have internet in their home, we are now able to get them internet in their home so that they can participate in online learning. We also sent out packets for children who do not have capacity to online learning. Even if we gave them a Chromebook, they might not be able to use that Chromebook. So the principals and teachers provided packets for those children. In regards to those on an IEP, Jay Fallon and his department are working around the clock to make sure that we're providing engagement opportunities for all students, giving inclusionary options for all students, making sure that the teachers of students with IEPs are connecting with their students. This is not a time to grade and to put a letter or a number next to a paper or to assess. It's time to make sure that kids are engaged and that we're providing enrichment and support to their learning. Because this is difficult. It's difficult to know who's online, what's going on online, how are we interacting with each other. I can tell you today, we had a parade, the teachers thought of this. I just helped out by getting a hold of the school resource officer and the chief of police and asking if we could do a parade route so the kids could see their teachers. It was heartwarming and sad, all in the same breath. To watch children see their teachers and cry and to scream their names and to wave and to jump up and down and to see high school students. Yes, I saw you high school students in cars with your parents, and even some standing on the side of the road or sitting in the back of a truck someplace. You miss your teachers, and that's okay. And we miss you. And we're trying to navigate these uncharted waters just like you are. And Dr. Williams, on a daily basis, is connecting with the principals and the facilitators in IT to make sure we are up and working and functioning as a group. Because, again, I have said this time and time again, where this is event-driven, and we're going to get through it, but it takes a village to raise a child, and this village is come together, has united, we're standing together, and we're going to get through this. Because kindergartners, I saw them out there today, and I saw preschool, and watched Mrs. Gorham's kids from pre-K try to get away from their parents to run to her car. And when you see something like that, it takes your breath away to know how important our teachers are from 3 years old to, and I did see you, many of you, 17 and 18-year-old high school seniors. This is an important time to stay focused, and yes, you got to stay at a distance, but we can still learn and engage. So the support is there, your teachers are there, your school district's there, and I think that they're doing a terrific job on supporting the education. We are not holding kindergartners back. So when we begin next year, there's going to be some, when we begin on April 7th, when we come back, or if we get pushed back, these kindergartners and these 3-year-olds, there's going to be some time that we're going to have to reunite and re-engage and remember. And with even our 17 and 18-year-olds, we're going to have to do the same. So that's where we are with the education for students. Any questions?
I'd like to start out by saying thank you for all you've been doing, you and the superintendent and anyone else who's been involved with working on whatever we're doing with the education for our students. And also, thank you for the parade today. Thank you to the teachers and for everything that everybody did to make the parade happen. I don't know if you heard me in the beginning because my phone cut out at the beginning of the meeting. I really appreciate, and I'm sure a lot of other people in this town really appreciate that the parade happened today. It was so unbelievably uplifting to see the teachers going down the street waving and smiling and watching the kids, and it was just really uplifting, and I can't tell you how much it meant to me and all the other kids. And so at this point, I would say, Gordon, do you have anything that you'd like to say or ask?
I'll certainly start and end with a thank you for Liz and Gina and everyone involved in keeping this moving under such bizarre circumstances. The question that I have is, from a student's point of view, Liz, whether they be in 3rd grade or 10th grade or whatever, what are they seeing? Are they getting assignments from their teachers and homework? What does it actually look like on their end?
Some students, I'll give you an example, some students had to do some makeup work, so teachers are allowing them to make up work or assessments that they missed in the past to reinforce some of the skill work that they were doing. We're trying to reinforce material and skills that has already been learned along the way. Trying to teach new right now is difficult without having a person-to-person or in-classroom conversation. Although some teachers are moving, I think that right now, teachers are moving to where they go to the Google Classroom or the Zoom platform classroom where they can see the class, so the class can see the teacher. And they're starting to do that, and we'll see how that envelope opens. From a student perspective, I'd actually like to send out a survey next week. I'll be talking to Dr. Williams about that tomorrow. We've talked about it, but we haven't put it together yet, that we'd like to know how the students feel, what they would like to see happen while we're not in school together. And hear from the students' perspective, especially in the older grades, and what more, or if it's too much, how do we pull back? If it's not enough, how do we add to it? The younger grades, the teachers are reaching out daily, and they have many platforms to get involved with online. Most of the K through 6 teachers have students' numbers. They all have their Chromebooks. Most students, if not all students at this time, have their Chromebooks. We even gave out Chromebooks to kindergarten and 1st grade, and 2nd grade. So we're, to answer that question, I think I'll have a better answer in a week from now or a couple of weeks from now, because this is really our first week. Last week we were working at it. We were up and going on last Wednesday. By Friday, I felt that we had started to walk. We were crawling. We were sitting on Wednesday, crawling on Thursday, walking on Friday. We're just starting to skip today, and we'll start running by tomorrow, I think. But it's getting a little easier. Uploading materials is challenging for some and for students. Like if they take a picture of it, take a picture of their work and send it in, we're going to accept it. If you can upload it to the Google spreadsheet or to the platforms, we'll accept it. So those are ways that we are working with students, Gordon.
Thank you, Liz. I guess just a more basic question: are the children online during times when they would normally be in school and for specific classrooms?
Some are, yes.
Or can they do their work anytime throughout the week?
Right now, they are starting to, it depends on the teacher. If it's third grade, the third grade teacher may say, today from 9 to 10, we're going to do this. And then you'll be working on this throughout, and you can talk to the teacher via being online. At the high school level, they are working on whether we put it into a schedule or how will they work. But the kids are looking online, so they know what they have to do. And if the teacher is going to hold a classroom chat or a classroom where you can see that teacher, then the student is scheduling their time around that. To say that we have all of the schedules where a student gets up at 9 o'clock and they get right online, I would hope that that's the case. But right now it's more of on the platforms. The students do it when they can't, or when they wake up and they start. We've sent out schedules of what a schedule looks like. We're going to be sending more of those out, like what's a third grade day look like? What does a child in kindergarten look like? Mrs. Gorham gave out a schedule, I believe it was Mrs. Gorham, gave out a schedule. What does a pre-K classroom look like? What does a full day pre-K class look like? We're here at 9. We sit and read for half an hour from 9 to 9:30. Then we work on social skills. Then we work on this skill. Then we work on our speech. So as of right now, it's a little bit loose, Gordon, but I do know that we are working on, I know that the principals are working with the teachers on how they schedule and how they go throughout the day for the student. I would hope that students would try to get between 3 to 3.5, maybe 4 hours a day of working on assignments and academics, whether it's reading or journaling. Yep.
Gordon, it's Teresa. I don't know if this helps you at all, but my experience as a parent has been, first and foremost, a lot of engagement from the teachers with just checking in with these kids, which I think has been phenomenal and really helpful. Some teachers are using, video references to teach. All have been using the Google Classroom platform. And various assignments. I know for Veronica, she from the get-go did a poster board with the schedule to 10 to 2 at school time. And then, if I need more time from that, fine. And she's stayed pretty engaged with it. And not that she would be mad, so unfortunately this is probably going to air, but, she's actually enjoyed the routine of still having, schoolwork assigned. But I think more importantly, what I've seen is more of the kind of the emotional, social check-in and kind of engagement from the church teaching team that has been enormously helpful. Just that, hey, we miss you, we're thinking about you, kind of like the parade today. And it's that, and Liz, I could hear you choking up, even during the parade today a little bit. It was definitely a happy and sad flood of emotions all at the same time. But I think in talking to different parents and stuff, I think most kids have actually kind of embraced, school to kind of get some sense of normalcy throughout all of this.
Yeah.
And so I think it's been working fairly well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry to take up so much of this time, but Liz, any concerns about graduating students, graduating seniors?
At this time, no. I think that any student that was, I don't think we had too many, but if there was any student at risk, I can tell you that Principal Sylvia and his guidance and teachers and assistant principal and Christy Anderson, Karen Clifford, they've reached out to those parents and to those teachers of those students and really working on making sure we get them to the finish line at this time. But no, I don't see that. And the guidance right now is, our role right now, and thank you, Teresa, for that, is really to keep kids engaged, to make sure that, we're not going to let them down. They don't want to let us down. We can see that out there, and we're certainly not going to let down, and we're going to continue to do the best that we can.
Tim, do you have anything?
No questions. I just wanted to say, Liz, I echo your sentiment that, I think the teachers have really gone above and beyond. I can tell you, from our house, having 2 school-age kids and a really young one, that everyone's getting a little punchier up here now, and temper's a little short. We've had a lot of close time, but I think my 5th grader being able to video chat a music lesson with Mrs. Landers last week was easily the highlight of his week, and I think it's really enjoyed that connection with his teachers, and it's been really hard on the families. It's been really hard on our family. I can't imagine, everybody else isn't feeling the same way. So it's really nice to see that outreach.
It's great.
Rob? Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, it's just I have very much the same experience where for my 4th grader in my pre-K, regular engagement with the teachers. We've enjoyed online band lessons with Mrs. Landers as well. My daughter was one of those kids who almost jumped into Mrs. Gorm's car today.
Yeah.
So connection is still alive and well. And I just really applaud everybody who's keeping it going. So thank you.
Yes, and I had that same experience with all 3 of my kids.
Can I just make one comment, please?
Sure, go ahead, Trista.
Can I just? Oh, sorry, Trista. I thought you said Teresa. Sorry, go.
No, go ahead, Trista.
No. Thank you. Liz, everything you've shared with us about how all the teachers are approaching, enrichment during this time, and some of the constraints on the ability to truly teach and further education because of all of the different challenges, if anything, because we're in such an unprecedented place. I personally think if there's any way for more of a definitive message to maybe be sent from the principals of the schools, especially at the high school level. I mean, there's so much uncertainty and unsettledness right now, and of course, everyone is thinking their own thoughts as far as how this is going to play out, up until April 7th and thereafter. But I think it's really important that parents realize that they can't be comparing with each other based on what teachers their students have,
right,
and what grade, and what teacher is giving this, and how come my teacher hasn't given my kid any assignments, because I've seen that. Not all teachers have necessarily gotten to the point of giving assignments or consistently giving assignments, because again, we're all in this phase of a place. But I also think it's really important that parents at all age levels realize that every parent wants, and every student wants to, make sure this school year doesn't create some big deficit in learning. The fact of the matter is every single student is in the same boat, at the same grade level with their peers, etc. And I really think what's most important is to keep your kids engaged, but also really focus on their emotional well-being, and don't get so focus on the academic piece that if you as a parent feel it's not being implemented or it's not consistent across, different teachers or subject matters, it's okay. I think everybody needs to step back and say, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
Right, and I sent that message out on EBCAM last night. If you haven't saw it up on the public access channel, you can go and certainly watch my message, and I think that that was pretty much my message, is we're trying to engage the best that we can. We really don't want you to fall asleep on us, and we don't want to fall asleep on you, and meaning that I don't want anybody to get anxious or have anxiety. We want to work with everybody. The principals, once I am on this DESI telephone call today, and with a conference call from the commissioner, I think we'll have a little bit more guidance as we move forward, and they'll start to reach out, and I think you'll see a little bit more from the principals tomorrow. On Friday, I'm going to start addressing on Mondays from the EBCAM, or the public access station, so that goes out to everybody in the community and our kids. But I also, on Fridays, I will be sending a notification from my office. I wanted to assess this week and what this week looked like, and hear from Dr. Williams, her thoughts by Friday, so that we could put a letter together to our families to see where we're at. The principals will reach out by Friday as well, but on Friday you'll get a communication from myself and Dr. Williams.
Thank you. At this time, if no one has anything else,
Can I just say something, Ellen?
Go ahead.
Teresa?
Go ahead. Go.
Liz, the only thing I would ask if we can do in some size, shape, or form, EBCAM or whatever, is at least try to reassure our seniors. And certainly we can't guarantee anything at this point in the game, but that we will try our very best to let them enjoy some of the milestone moments that are so typical in the senior year that they're kind of missing out on. I know PR has already canceled their prom, and some of our seniors are really concerned about that. And, the reality is that may happen. It may not happen in May or whenever it happens, but, maybe we could still do something in August or whenever this nightmare ends.
Sure. I think principals...
I know it's something you can commit to now, but it's something if you could think on it. Because I've had some that I know, and credit to our seniors, some of them are working their tails off covering groceries just at this point because I've seen them. And I know we don't know the answers. Unfortunately, nobody knows the answers. It's the times we live in. But even if we can, reassure them that we're with, everybody, and I know everybody is doing their best to, protect those moments for them. Through this whole thing, I've always said, the kindergartners and the seniors, the two most important years in your academic world, and they've kind of been cut short.
Yep. And we know that, and so that's why we're postponing things at this time, but the principals are cognizant of that, and they are really looking for that. They're just postponing at this time.
Ellen, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is Gordon. I have to jump off. I have to get onto a call at 3 o'clock. I apologize. I know we haven't voted on things, but I appreciate having the opportunity to have this meeting, so thank you.
Stay safe.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Gordon.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
At this time, I would take a motion to approve accounts payable warrant 39 SV dated March 25th of 2020, and I would take a moved by Teresa.
Second.
Second by Tim, and I take a roll call vote. So that would be Ellen Pennington, aye. Oh, sorry, I was going on. So Ellen Pennington, aye, and then Trista.
Yep. Aye.
Rob.
Aye.
I think you guys have to say your names though.
Ruda, aye.
Trista.
Higgins, aye.
Teresa.
Moss, aye.
Tim.
McLaughlin, aye.
It's unanimous. And at this
Ellen,
time, I would take a motion to
excuse
approve
me, Ellen,
What?
I'm going to leave the
Yes,
table.
yes.
John Shea's going to finish if there's anything. I need to get on the conference call with the Commissioner of Education. I'll be back.
sure.
Thank you.
Good luck, Liz.
Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you.
healthy.
Hi, Liz. Thank you.
At this time, I would take a motion to approve payroll warrant 38 PS dated March 18th of 2020. And I'll do a roll call vote. And Pennington, aye. Trista?
Higgins, aye. Higgins, aye.
Rob?
Ruda, aye.
Tim?
McLaughlin, aye.
Teresa?
Moss, aye.
Thank you. It's unanimous. And we're at the end of our meeting. I have one question, so maybe John Shea can answer this question, and maybe not. It might have to be left to another time. So during the time that we are out of school, will there be will it be necessary for any of us to come in and sign any of the warrants so that they can get paid?
I don't know. I know there's a lot of, in my business group, there's a lot of talk about the correct way to do it and the acceptable way to do it. So I do have a meeting with the attorneys today at 3:30, so I can follow up with them and send out some guidance. Okay.
Sounds good. And then you'll just let us know.
I will let you know, yes.
You'll just, okay, thank you. And at this time I would wish everyone to stay healthy and safe, and I will take a motion to adjourn this meeting. Moved by Teresa.
Second.
Second by Tim. All in favor, roll call vote. Pennington, aye. Trista? Trista? Did we lose Trista?
Might have lost Trista. Multi.
Multi and Rob?
Ruda, aye.
Tim?
McLaughlin, aye.
Okay, well, we have a quorum, and we adjourn this meeting.